Martha, we're back in the game. We're talking about how you've got to keep banging the drum. What the fuck does that mean?
Does that have something to do with the drum?
It might do, but we won't reveal that yet. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? What's been going on? We've hardly.
Everything. I've been speaking in Scotland. I've been booking speaking gigs at wedding conferences, which is a new one.
Yeah.
Think I've got a speaking gig in Orlando. Might have one in Miami. Available for bar mitzvahs.
Yeah.
Like, it's yeah. Heck, tick.
What are you speaking about?
Oh, marketing, bit of mindset. No, in Glasgow, I spoke about two different things: AI and marketing, and I spoke about wealth and legacy, and about how building your wealth and creating a legacy isn't necessarily just about finances, and how you compound your efforts, and how most people just create some income, spend that income, recreate some income, spend that income, and actually there's a better way. But that's not what we're here to talk about today.
No.
So we've talked about this sort of phrase before. My mum famously said, when the music stops, people stop dancing, you've got to keep banging the drum. She didn't famously say that. She said it to me on a car journey home on the phone once. But I was like, that's very profound.
That is profound. It's on our wall somewhere.
It is on our wall. I might actually, whenever we get some of these vinyls redone in here, have that as one of the things, and then just have Joel's mum as the name underneath.
Superman's mum.
No, I'm not Superman. I'm Batman. Superman's shit.
Oh, I don't know anything about any men. Super or bat?
You don't know anything about any men.
Super or bat?
Well, Batman doesn't have superpowers, and Superman does.
But Batman is a bat.
No. Yeah, he's not a bat. There's nothing bat up. It's not like Spider-Man been bitten by a spider and has the qualities of a spider. Batman fell in a well when he was a kid, was terrified by bats, and then used that as his iconography to strike fear into the criminals of Gotham.
So can he fly?
No, he can glide.
In his suit?
Yeah.
But he doesn't grow wings?
No.
Okay.
You know that anyway.
I don't know
You're
that.
definitely playing stupid.
I've never watched
Any of the Batmans?
Superman, Spider-Man.
Outrageous.
Yeah,
Get the Robert Pattinson Batman in you.
Is it good? Someone
Really
told him
good.
he'd never ever make it as an actor. Which
Oh, he's in some
possible.
good films, Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, and some terrible ones.
He just gets given a hard time because he was in Twilight. But that'd be like hammering Daniel Radcliffe for being Harry Potter.
But he was good in Harry Potter.
Is Robert Pattinson not good in Twilight?
No.
He's good in everything else.
But since he's playing a vampire with no emotion, it kind of...
Yeah, it's a bit wooden.
Yeah. Maybe he was playing it really well.
Yeah, nailed it.
Yeah.
Perfect casting. No, he's honestly, he is a great Batman, and I will fight people who tell me I'm wrong.
Really?
Because I think people pass judgment based on, oh, isn't that the guy from Twilight? But he's done a lot of really cool things since then, and yeah, the Batman's sick, and the spin-off series Penguin's very good too. Anyway, speaking of which, they're very good at banging the drum. They bloody recycle superheroes and characters all the time.
Bring people back to life.
Yeah, exactly. But that's kind of the point I'm making, is that a lot of businesses, they don't know metrics that are really important to them, like how long it takes for a prospect to become a customer. So and that could be time, it could be number of emails, number of text messages, how many calls. Why don't you know those things? In our business, at one point it was 18 months from joining our database to becoming a customer, and now we've got that down to 9 months. But I meet so many businesses that give up on their marketing campaign at 6 months, who charge a lot more than we do. So they might never know if it was working or not.
And actually, this has recently happened with a client. If you stop filling the top of your funnel, you will see it in the bottom of the funnel.
Yeah.
And you might think, no, I'm right. I'm still making sales and I haven't been doing my lead gen. And then you get 3 months down the line and it all dries up and you wonder...
You're literally talking
listen
to
to
someone
me.
at the moment who's going through that.
Yeah.
And they've come crawling back. We won't name names. It's not it sounds really mean, but it's just the maths of the game. You've got to put people in at the top and nurture them towards
and touch
sale.
Touch point.
And it's annoying and it's frustrating. You have to keep doing it, but it's akin to driving your car. If you don't put petrol in the fucking car, the car won't move.
And you have to pay for petrol. You
Yeah.
have to pay to fill the top of your
And
funnel.
eventually the petrol runs out and you have to top it up again. So,
And you won't see the ROI necessarily on the top of your funnel immediately.
yeah.
Could
And
take 9 months.
especially if you're high ticket. Especially if you're high ticket, because the distance from the top of your funnel to the bottom of your funnel is a lot longer if you're high ticket.
'Cause
You can
just-
shorten that, speak from the stage, hence what I was just saying then. Write a book, do a podcast, but writing books, speaking, driving around the world, driving around the country, flying around the world, speaking on stages, and recording an hour's worth of podcast every week takes up a lot of fucking time and effort.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be that business. It's like, we've got leads, they're just not booking in our diary. It's like, that's not how it works. Like, if it worked like that, anyone could do it. You've got to convince them.
Yeah.
And yeah, there are high demand things where they don't have to do this, like electricians and plumbers. We mentioned quite a lot on this podcast, but ultimately there's not enough of them to go round, and there's so much work out there that they don't have to do this stuff. But if you want to become a high ticket electrician, you've got to build your reputation in installing Control 4 panels or installing cinemas. And building reputation takes effort and communication and branding and customer service and reviews. Like, however, there's no shortcut.
Yeah, and it's different, I think, if you solve a problem that somebody's got. Like, your boiler's either broken or it's not. You can't convince someone they've got a broken boiler if it's not broken.
Yeah, but then you have the whole, like, right, should I have Baxi or Worcester Bosch? And, like, I don't know much about boilers, but let's say the Baxi's 500 quid less. That's an easier sell. But then maybe the Worcester Bosch has got a 10-year warranty, and then it's like, do I want to deal with the people who want the high quality item with the long warranty, or people who want cheap and cheerful and quick? And neither of those is wrong or right or wrong, but it's a different marketing method, and if you're going for the cheap and cheerful and quick, you're going to need more volume of customer, and so it's a different thing to going for people who want to put a ground source heat pump in and can afford to drop $8,000 on their heating system.
Ground source heat pump, you lost me. I don't even know what that means.
It's like an alternative form of heating your house. We're meant to change to it because we're on oil, not gas. So we have a big tank in the garden that has to get filled up twice a year. Because we're not on mains gas.
Oh,
So they come and put LPG in it. That's how we heat our house. Very expensive way of heating your house, very inefficient. And some of our neighbours are moving to ground source heat pumps, which is like a big fan outside your house that warms air and pulls air from the ground, and
which is better in the long run, but
it's
short
more
term.
energy efficient. It's better for the environment, but it's fucking expensive to like retrofit.
You get a grant for that.
Supposedly, but the amount of phone calls we
Yes.
get are from random grant companies that are definitely not grant companies, and
Just want your mother's maiden name and
yeah.
The
It's
last
like,
4 digits
why are you
of
in my
the
bank? Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. So, I don't know how the hell we got to this, but yeah, boilers, plumbers. So, level of intent is a thing. Level of need is a thing. You know, if at the point of need, there's more demand than there is supply, you're absolutely laughing. Marketing is not your biggest issue in your business, because like we see that with premium products all the time. You see that with Bitcoin, you see it with diamonds, you see it literally, you can see it with plumbers, you see it with healthcare. But then if you're a service business and supply outstrips demand, you've got to be fucking good at marketing.
yeah.
And you've got to keep banging the drum, and you've got to stay in front of people, and you've got to prove why you're better than the competition. I literally just said on a sales call now, I'm not here to throw shit at the competition, but they won't tell you this, and then said something that I know competitors wouldn't say because it'll do them out of money.
Yeah.
It was to do with designing emails. And I told him the truth about how to get a high open rate versus paying a design agency to design you pretty emails.
That never gets,
Never get
the
opened.
images never get downloaded.
They never
do they?
load, yeah, exactly. And he was like, I can't believe we've spent hours and hours and hours and hours designing these emails. I went, well, you're not wrong. It's just,
Nobody's opening them.
I'm getting you to the result.
Yeah.
And I'm going to lose money by doing it, but it's the right answer. And
We've had a lot of that recently, haven't we?
I love
Helping people.
integrity marketing. Like, that whole, like, what do we do that is the right thing to do that might not be great for our bank account but gets people to the result quicker? And the more we do that, the more work we get.
Yeah, we do a lot of like support with people and their accounts that they've done something ridiculous when they were younger on Facebook, and now
They're banned.
they're
Yeah.
banned for life. And
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
got to go crawl into Mr. Zuckerberg. But it helps them, and then they can advertise, which means we can help them.
Literally, I said to you yesterday, if helping someone for the right reasons is a good thing to do, that's a good enough reason to do it. And every time we take that attitude, we make more sales.
Yeah.
Now, you can see that as woo-woo or just see that as being in the right state of mind. But it definitely fucking works.
Yeah.
And we have clients now that live in that space in their head that have an abundant amount of work because they behave like that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not suggesting that their tarot cards were great or something. I'm just saying that, like, the more positive outlook you seem to have and the more you help others, the more good things seem to happen.
That effectively is what manifestation is, though, right? It's like you, like, whether you believe in it or not, saying you're going to do something is setting the intention, and you are barreling towards.
Because I see that as visualization. Because people talk about manifestation, and I'm like, well, I don't think I can create something from nothing. I'm creating something from something, but unless I can see it, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think some people get confused and think manifestation is like wishing something into truth.
Or luck.
Yeah, and I don't wish anything into truth. I point myself in the right direction and get after it.
Yeah.
But if you don't know what the direction is, and like, I think like that business ownership thing is, if you want something, you then find out as much as you can about that thing. You point yourself in the direction of that thing, and you block out the noise. And to people who aren't business owners, who aren't determined in that way, that's really strange behaviour.
Yeah.
But like, you know, like we've got it here in the business. Like, there's things we're going to do with the podcast studio. There's things that we're doing behind the scenes. There's the Florida trip as a team, where I'm like,
have we spoke about that on the podcast?
No, I don't think so. I was like dropping it in subtly, but you've highlighted it massively now. But yeah, so like Neil and I have said, we're going to take the team to Orlando to celebrate 10 years of Codebreak. It's a massive fucking thing. But I've had my eye on that for about 3 years.
Well, yeah, it has been mentioned before.
Yeah,
Even before
there was a turnover target, wasn't there? That
Yeah.
I said, if you hit this turnover target, I will pay for us all to go to Orlando. And we missed it. Like, that's the honest truth. But also, like, a lot of those staff aren't here anymore. So it's like, but I'm not like the sort of person that would dangle a carrot like that and not deliver. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
So now the opportunity's come for us to do it, and I've detached it from a turnover target and just said, look, this is what we're fucking doing. But it's that whole visualization piece. I remember I sat in a car with our old accountant, probably 7 years ago, and said to him, if we hit this, I'm going to take the team to Orlando. And he laughed at me. And because at the time I drove like a fairly clapped out car, didn't have a particularly nice house.
I haven't heard the word clapped out for ages.
Like, didn't have a particularly nice house. The business wasn't what it is now. And he laughed at me. I was like, I'll fucking show you.
Yeah. I love that when people doubt me.
Yeah.
It's almost my...
Like, watch.
Yeah.
Because I that business now, I mean, they've done all right, but I can see from a distance that not a lot's changed. And our business has fucking changed loads, and we're all going to Orlando.
Yeah.
And clients are invited.
Yeah.
Like, that's definitely not been announced.
Yeah, no.
So,
Although I keep accidentally letting it slip.
yeah, but like, fucking epic. Like, there's no ego in it. To be honest, I really want to go to Orlando, and I'm really grateful for what you guys have done, and I want you to come too. And then I was like, oh, well, clients could come as well. That'd be sick. Like, what more reasons you need? I mean, like, a lot of people are like, well, what's the business case for that? Is this going to cost you a lot of money? Well, there isn't much of a business case, and yes, it is going to cost me a lot of money.
Yes and yes.
But like,
But look how happy I am. Look at this face.
but how much, like, pulling it back to what we're talking about, can we bang the drum about that? Like, how many of your like suppliers treat their team like this? How many of your suppliers have this kind of like abundance attitude? How many of your suppliers are out there and after it? The whole like stay hungry mentality. And I'm getting more and more comfortable with us just banging that drum. Like, we are not like other agencies. We're not like any other business. And you're either going to love that or you're going to hate it. But if you love it, jump on board because this is great fun.
Yeah.
And I think like when we're in good energy in the office and stuff, that actually like translates into a real buzz about the place. Like you and I had to go for drinks. Had to. That's a bit rough. Chose to go for drinks with someone last night who's going through a very difficult thing. And he's an ex-employee, and like we both care about him a lot.
That's really like put a lot into perspective.
Yeah.
For me.
And we're like fortunate to work somewhere like this, to create what we're creating here, to be able to like drop things and go for a drink, and it just like life's for living. And if you're about that, then you're going to get on well with us. Like one of our clients who doesn't work with us anymore because she's shifted direction was literally like, can I come to Orlando with you guys because I love you guys? And it's like that's like really cool. Like I'm never going to take that for granted.
Yeah, you don't get many places where like you part ways or people leave and you stay in each other's circles.
Oh, don't get me wrong, we've had people that don't like us as well, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But generally, I'd like to think most people that's worked with us, if I saw them, I could give them a big hug and like they'd want to be part of the party.
Yeah.
And it's not to say we're fucking around all the time or partying all the time, but it's work hard, play hard.
Yeah, yeah, that is actually on my playlist. That work hard, play.
I don't know what that is.
It's like a 2000s club banger.
10 years too late for me. Savage. So, what's like the cost of like? Obviously, I've deliberately just banged the drum for about 15 minutes on this podcast. What's the cost of silence, Muff? Like,
loads. Like even just in the context of like, you've never posted an Instagram post, people think you're closed or you don't exist anymore. They're not going to message you or even consider driving to your location if you have a site. Like, it's the little things that all compound on that touch point journey. Like, okay, so I've seen this ad. I'm now gonna stalk the website or the Instagram page, depending on what industry you're in. If that's a bag of shit, like, there was no point in serving the ad, because how do I build trust when I can't see what it is that you're doing?
Yeah. And like also, sometimes when businesses are a bit too cool and a bit too like, oh, we don't post very often on our socials, or we don't email our database, it creates distrust. You can be a bit like, what are they hiding?
I actually just had it with the sofa. Like, I'm pretty sure I paid for this, but I haven't heard anything from them. And it says it's going to be here in 7 weeks, but has that 7 weeks started?
Yeah,
I mean, luckily I'm quite blasé about stuff. Like, I'm like, right, it will happen if it happens. But, like, that would stress. Like, if that was my mum, that would really be stressing her out. Like, I need to know when the sofa's coming. Have I actually been scammed?
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
There is, like, I'd say, like, go through your own funnel. Like, pretend you're a customer, you're seeing your business for the first time. What are you doing? Where are you inquiring? And then what happens after that? Do you know enough about what you're inquiring about? Or, like, do you get an email to say, yeah, we've got your inquiry and we'll be in touch? I can't tell you the amount of times I've been to a website and I'm like, did that send? Did they get my message? Or, like, has it timed out? And if you just had that confirmation, be like, right, I can expect that the mechanics are going to call me back.
Yeah, thanks for your inquiry. We'll be in touch soon.
Yeah. Then you
5 minutes until your Zoom call with Martha. Like, it's not
10 actually.
Well, yeah, literally. But do you know, like, these little reminders, like, it makes a big difference. And like, I think that silence as well, when there's a shift in your industry. So this would have happened in the motor industry recently, where suddenly electric cars on the backside of COVID were like, everyone was buying electric. if your business is quiet and not talking about that, people are going to assume that you don't know.
Yeah.
And that's a real issue where you might have been positioned as the expert and suddenly you've put yourself down to the bottom of the pile because you're not speaking on what's going on. Like there's a podcast on Diary of a CEO at the moment where it's Gary Stevenson against Daniel Priestley, and they're talking about how to solve the wealth gap, for want of a better. And Gary Stevenson's very much like you need to tax the ultra wealthy to bridge the gap. And Daniel Priestley's like you need to encourage commerce to bridge the gap. And I think probably the truth is somewhere in the middle. Gary Stevenson's very like aggressive in his approach to how he makes a debate. Daniel Priestley's very calm and methodical. I actually love both of their arguments, which is like you're probably meant to be polarized, but I actually quite enjoy both of their arguments. I could be like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
But the Diary of a CEO podcast very often features marketing. Daniel Priestley's a marketing expert. Stephen Bartlett's obviously from a marketing background. Gary Stevenson's a trader. I'm also interested in trading. And I was like, well, I need to know about this because someone might ask me.
Yeah.
And then I've seen it on LinkedIn this morning. I've seen like various people talk to me about it. A client rang me this morning and was talking about it. So I need to be in the know, and then people need to know I'm in the know. And if they don't,
the point?
Yeah, if they don't know I'm in the know, then that could create detachment and distrust, lack of engagement, and they could go elsewhere. Like I'm literally going to a mastermind on Thursday before a big conference on Friday. And the last time I went to that mastermind, somebody said, "Do you do websites?" And it pissed me off because like I feel like I bang the drum a lot. So I'm going to wear a T-shirt to the event on Thursday that says, "Hi, I'm Joel, and I do marketing, branding, websites, and AI."
Nice.
Because it's like, if you can't fucking see it written across my chest, I've got no hope.
Yeah. I mean, we're having this conversation now, and we've had a client recently been like, "Oh, I didn't know you did branding." It's like, what? I literally talk to you all the time about this. And you think, I mean, people are busy. That's another thing you got to remember.
Busy, distracted, stupid,
Don't
doorbell's
share.
gone, kettle's boiled, kids are screaming.
So you really have to bang the drum.
Yeah,
over
yeah,
and
yeah.
over and over and over.
Do you think like how easy it is to ignore the sound of a lorry going past your house? That's a fucking like
It shakes my head.
10-ton truck going past your house. So that's how much you need to bang the drum.
Like, do you have friends? This is really bad, actually. I have friends, I'm like not even sure what it is that they do. Like, I know they've got like a big fancy corporate job, but if it was like what they actually do, I don't know if I could.
It's different if you're employed though. You don't need to tell people, do you?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess, yeah.
They're
It's
not
bad, isn't
trying
it?
to create business.
Just in like the context of things that you think you should know.
Yeah. Maybe not asking enough questions. Well,
I don't know, like, yeah.
so this is really just a massively egotistical long lead into the fact that I was recently featured in The Drum.
Da 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 da.
Which, if you don't know, is like the biggest publication in our space. And I got to write an article called "Why It's Actually Okay to Piss Some People Off Some of the Time." And this is kind of what we're talking about, is that like, I don't think you should be deliberately divisive. I think that's a lazy tactic. And you should be true to yourself. But you should bang the drum about what your truths are, what your values are, who you are, what you can do, how you can help people. And
Move
that's what
people
the
away.
article's about. Yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah.
towards.
Push, yeah, exactly. Push and pull. Like, be a magnet for the people that like what you're about, and repel the people that don't. And that's okay. And I mean, it's a lesson I have to keep learning, because when you're tired or when you're not at your best self, it does hurt when people are like, "Oh, I don't like what you're about." But does it matter? Like, I probably don't like what they're about, so that's okay. And like last week in Glasgow, I spent a day with a room full of people that I'm really about what they're about, and they're really about what I'm about, and it was great. And I can totally see how if I was in a room that isn't about me and I stand out like a sore thumb, that would be shit. So don't be in that room.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, really cool to feature. That article's on their website if you wanted to grab it. Links on my socials, la 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 la
Yeah,
la.
okay.
But it's a good article. It's helpful, and it explains why it is okay to piss people off as long as you're not doing it on purpose. As long as you're not like I don't really like this polarized marketing where you're deliberately saying something controversial to hook people in. That's not me. But I do like it when you make your position clear. I think clarity is really important, and it's really a really useful tool in marketing to be like, this is what we stand for, this is how we help you, this is what we don't do, and these are the boundaries. And if that's a bit of you, let's party.
Let's go.
Cool, Marv. What's the best way to get in touch with these gangsters?
You could give me a ring.
Yeah, cool. Random.
Drop
Visit
me a WhatsApp.
codebreak.co.uk.
Yeah,
All
find my
those
number.
fun things.
Hello@codebreak.
Slide into Martha's DMs, and we'll speak to you soon.